Hello there, my name's John and I'm a record collector, and this is my intro video to the vinyl community on YouTube. I can start off by saying I'm an Englishman living in Sweden. I've lived here for over 20 years. I've just recently spent about 2.5 years in Northern California and recently come back to Sweden. I have records scattered around everywhere. I left a lot in the US, although I brought many of them back. I have still quite a lot in England where I lived until my mid-20s, and then I've got quite a lot here. So all in all I've probably got about 3,500 in different places. And while I was in California I discovered these videos on YouTube of the vinyl community, and I thought, wow, people just like me out there. So that's why I've come to talk about myself. My first album that I collected was when I was 13. I got it for my 13th birthday present from my sister, which was this one, David Bowie, Changes One. I would have heard David Bowie perhaps around about 1982 when I was 12. He had a lot of singles out at the time. He was kind of peaking with his Let's Dance album, and so Modern Love, China Girl, all these tracks were sort of being released and made into videos, and that was quite a new thing, I think, that stage in the 80s, and that was really kind of appealing to me at the time, and I would have asked for this David Bowie album. And rather than get the Let's Dance album, my sister bought me this, which was perhaps not a bad thing really, because it opened the door to David Bowie's back catalogue, which was quite extensive even in those days. So that was my first album, and that led me into being a big David Bowie fan for the longest time, and yeah, from there I went on to all sorts of other things. My first single that I bought was this one by Sly Fox, track called Let's Go All The Way. I don't even know if these guys are around anymore, probably not, and to be honest with you, it's not really representative of the type of music I listen to now, or even then it was just a record that I'd heard on the radio, and it was catchy, so it was my first time I went to a record shop and bought the single for myself. Suffice to say, the next album that I did, the next record that I bought for myself would have been the Let's Dance album. Most people are familiar with this album. It's one of Bowie's sort of biggest hit albums, I guess. From there I started collecting records, because why do I collect records? Well, I think, yeah, the mid-80s was when CDs came out, and at the time it was around about 70% cheaper to buy things on vinyl still. CDs were quite expensive, way out of my budget at the time, teenager living at home still. And so you could pick records up at the regular price, and what was good is that people were generally starting to discard their records by replacing them with CDs, and so you could pick them up at car boot sales for, next to nothing, £2 or £3, sometimes even less, each record. And so it suited me at the time to sort of continue collecting them in that way. And well, I still collect because I never really stopped. It's kind of ironic now that CDs are cheaper than chips. You can find them anywhere, and you don't really cost very much. Whereas to buy a brand new vinyl record is a lot more money these days, isn't it? So that's my introduction to the vinyl community. I've got lots of ideas, lots of themes that I want to go over in coming films, and well, I'd like to thank you all for listening, and watch out for my next film. Thank you. Bye.